Welcome to TriggerTalk, your place for everything first-person shooters like Battlefield, Call of Duty, and so much more. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, and as always, I'm joined by Sammy Boy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Ready to hop in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Battlefield Labs' official confirmation of Battle Royale testing going on. They've released some details, so we're going to talk about it. Let's jump in. Okay, last episode we were talking about the Battle Royale, our thoughts and its impact on Battlefield. This episode, we're going to be talking about the Battle Royale itself, now that we've kind of got like official confirmation now. I'm pretty excited. There's one thing that I'm going to get into later, specifically about how they're changing it for Battlefield. But what's your initial reaction based off of this little blog post?
I'm mostly just sort of excited that this is the first time they've officially said the words Battle Royale in terms of obviously not Firestorm back in 2018, but now they, even with that little teaser, it was obviously a Battle Royale, but they didn't say it. And
new experience. Who does?
Yeah, like I actually thought when they gave us that, I thought that it would say like Battle Royale is coming or something, like a confirmation, but they didn't. And so, now the fact that we've finally officially got it, even though we all knew it was like before they even teased it, we knew it's been leaked for like a year at this point. But it is just nice to see it officially confirmed. And some of the stuff in this little blog post, I'm actually pretty interested in. I think that it's probably one of the more interesting blog posts they've done, because a lot of these often are just like a bunch of words, really. Like there's a bit of key information and then it's like blabbering on. But I actually feel like all of this was really pretty interesting to read through. So overall pretty excited.
Yeah. Let's go over some of the details here. Battle Royale, the Battlefield way is one of the titles on this. Battlefield at its core, key elements players can expect in this test. Battlefield, the map. Battlefield is no stranger to epic maps, and this all-new map has been built for the Battle Royale experience, so that's good. It features a diverse array of tactical points of interest, each with distinct layouts and themes that offer unique gameplay opportunities. It is going to have vehicles. You can find common transport vehicles around the map and even unlock powerful armored vehicles to turn the tide of the battle. That is going to be crazy, but let's get into that after we kind of go through all the details. Tactical destruction. Destruction will be everywhere in this mode, from creating pathways through walls, toppling buildings. We look forward to seeing players' ingenuity with destruction and how they use it to defeat their opponents. Squad play. It's going to have 100 players organized into 25 4-player squads, fighting to be the last one standing. Communicating with your squad through pings, text, or voice over IP aims to boost the experience and enhance their tactical sections. And second chances. Between the support class revives and mobile redeploy options, there are multiple tools to keep your squad in the fight. So this is something that we had wondered about, like how are they going to utilize Battlefield mechanics and ideas in this mode to really tie it together? And that's the big question, because they've attempted to do this. We've seen obviously Firestorm in the past, and it's been a question mark how they were going to like implement Battlefield aspects into this. So what do you think of this so far?
I think the destruction side of it kind of goes without saying that, like that's instantly off the bat. Yeah, like that's something that immediately sets this slightly apart from the other BRs, because as far as I can remember, I've played pretty much all of the like key BRs. I don't believe any of them have had destruction. Maybe one of those like more niche. I remember like Hyperscape, for example, a very niche one that may have had. It wasn't even destruction. It was just the way that the circle closed in. It like essentially destroyed all the buildings as it went. But like it was a bit different. That's one way to instantly set this game apart from the others. So pleased about that. But I also, that's not something we needed to know. Like we knew that was going to be in the game. The vehicle part is it's a slight concern. I think if done properly, it's fine. But I think that could be a real hindrance because, like, in a high stakes mode like this, where literally a single mistake or a single just an enemy doing something like annoying can result in you having to exit the game, which is, it can be really frustrating if it's something that you just are powerless to. There's been certain other BRs where, like, there's just certain stuff you can't, like, you see someone with that and you're like, well, I'm dead. I can't beat that. And a vehicle is that on steroids.
Mm-hmm.
So transport vehicles I'm fine with because that's pretty normal in all BRs, really. Just having like a Humvee, whatever, that's fine. Even with like a machine gun on top, I think that's fine. But when it's like a tank, that could be really problematic. And I know they did that in Firestorm. I didn't play enough Firestorm to really remember like if it was detrimental, but I know a lot of people didn't love it, and I'm pretty sure I didn't love it either. It wasn't like, didn't ruin the game for me, but it was a bit like, I'd prefer that to not be in there.
Mm-hmm.
It just leads to those situations where, like, what if me and my squad are clearly the best in that game and then some random team just get a tank? Like, that's just so annoying when stuff like that happens. It's different in multiplayer because, like, one, that's part of the game, and two, you die and you just respawn. You don't do that in the BR. So that's my only real concern through this whole blog post, is that, like, personally, I just kind of prefer them to not have vehicles, or if they're going to do it, it needs to, like, really, really be balanced, where it's like, I don't know, you can only be in a tank. It's on like a timer where it's just like, it's taking damage and you can only be in it for like 2 minutes. That would be one thing. Even then, that to me, then it's like, well, what's the point? Just don't have it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really my only concern. But everything else in that bit that you read sounds really good to me. And I'm sure that if the vehicles are an issue, I'm sure people will let them know, and hopefully they adjust accordingly.
Well, we know that vehicles are always an issue here at the TriggerTalk podcast. But yeah, like, to go off of your point, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how they balance this. Because, like, obviously in the real world, no matter what you do against a tank, you will die as an individual. Even with explosives, there's a large likelihood that you will die. But this is a video game, and we need video games to be fun and balanced to kind of offer that experience. And like you said, if you and the boys are like cooking and you're just going to town, you're clearing everybody out, and then all of a sudden some freaking noob in a tank comes over and murks you from like 2 miles away, that's going to be a problem. So I do wonder, like, what does it look like to have, because it says powerful armored vehicles. That doesn't necessarily mean a tank, where I think of a tank the first time I hear powerful armored vehicle. Maybe it is just kind of like a Humvee kind of situation that has some level of like a Gatling gun on the top or something along those lines that's a little bit easier to kind of get out of the way of. Maybe it's mostly for maneuverability and destruction rather than kind of combat. But that's going to be something that they definitely have to balance heavily to make it enjoyable.
They definitely can't, in my opinion, you can't have engineers having repair tools. Because I'm just going to I'll be honest, I'm just going to get in a squad with competent players. Me and 2 of the other lads are going to play engineer and have that, and just get the best tank. Like, I'm going to play, I don't know if you know Silk from Australia. I'm just going to get him in the tank, and I'm going to play with some other creators, and we're just going to heal him up, and we will literally have a 100% win record. Like that. No one beats that, I'm sorry. Yeah. So they need to not, like, even in multiplayer, I've got a piece of really good gameplay actually that shows that off, where I was just in a random squad, and me and the 2 other dudes were all just repairing this tank, and it was indestructible, and it literally held down one whole side of the map and just was deleting people for like 10 minutes. Like, I'm not even talking a little sequence. It was like half the match. We just sat in the same spot, and we dominated the whole game because they couldn't get past a whole flank. It was on that Iranian offensive, the grass area up the top.
Yeah.
like that was cut off. The whole enemy team couldn't get through there, and then the rest of our team was just down on the other flags, like capping them. We just won by like 500 tickets because just literally our squad. So it's bad enough in multiplayer, let alone in a BR where there's not 64 other people, like, or 32 other people working together. It's 4v4v4v4. Like, none of these people are going to work together. They're going to see a tank fighting another group and they're going to run away. So it's just 4v a tank, and that you're not winning that. So yeah, I think that there needs to be like very clear rules around it where put your tank in the game if you must, if that's a way to sell the game, that's one thing. But in my opinion, no repair tools. It shouldn't be repairable at all. Like, it should just, you cannot repair it. If it's gets hit by a rocket, well, you've got to eat that damage permanently. Make them really slow, slightly lower their damage. I just think if it's anything like an actual tank in multiplayer, like that could really ruin it. So, but again, I think if it's that bad, people will rage, and like they will surely change that.
Yeah. Moving on to the squad play piece, I do think it's interesting that like it talks about classes, training, and traits. I think having this idea in Battlefield, I think, is really interesting. I like this idea of like focusing on the squad play and having like the class aspect of things move forward is nice. And then the thing I'm really excited to talk to you about is the deadliest ring in Battle Royale. We set out to bring the most dangerous ring in gaming to Battle Royale that instantly kills players upon contact. With urgent warnings as the fire approaches, soldiers will be pushed into more intense firefights as the game space continues to shrink. There's no jumping in and out of it, no using it for cover, no walking through it. If you get caught in it, you are done. We're excited to see how the ring affects the pace of the game and how it creates spontaneous showdowns. I'm so hyped for this. This is what I'm talking about, like bringing new experiences into the Battle Royale format.
Yeah, so I do have sort of two takes on this, but I mostly lean in that direction too, where I think this is an awesome addition. That is a great way to, like I've said, we've talked about it, and even in my own videos, I've sort of said, if you're gonna do a BR, you've got to do something that makes you stand out, because the competition with just Fortnite alone is difficult. But then you do, even though Warzone's like had a decline, it's still Warzone, it's still huge. Apex is still doing its thing. Like, you need to do something that when that trailer drops, people go, oh shit, that's crazy. Like, you need that reaction. You can't just have, if this trailer drops whenever they actually like announce it fully and all that, and it's just kind of pretty good, which I know, to be fair, DICE trailer's always elite, but I mean, like, if there's nothing in there that blows us away, that is like really bad. It needs to be like shock factor. We need to be like, oh my god, they're doing that. That's crazy. And I think that this could be that thing. This in combination with destruction and with the class system, I think being in BR is actually really cool as well. And I think there's a few things there that this is starting to be, it looks very different to the other BRs. Well, still, there's a lot of stuff in here that reminds me of Warzone, but it's like got these unique takes as well. And this to me is the one for sure that's like the biggest change. I've never seen another BR do that. Most of the other BRs out there, they sort of, it's really weird. The circle, whatever it is, whether it's the gas or the storm in Fortnite or whatever that is, it's sold as this really dangerous thing. They're not actually that dangerous. Like, towards the end
like
of the game,
in Apex, okay, like you spend a lot of time in the ring, like popping shields, and like it's not really the thing that drives you forward. Truly, like it's not as deadly as like you touch it, you die. I remember, like, I think it's the thing that when you first ever play any battle, like with PUBG, I remember like, oh my god, the circle's getting close, we need to go because we can't be near that. And you slowly do just learn like, oh, it's actually like, you don't want to be in there if you can avoid it, but it's not that damaging. Usually it will just chip away a bit of damage, and like if you're in a gunfight and stuff, then that negatively affects you. But
these days people have become so like used to it that I've actually just recently have seen heaps of clips on like Instagram reels and stuff where I'm looking at multiple minute long videos of people just doing like in Warzone it's referred to as a gas play, where you purposely go into the gas with stims and a gas mask and stuff, and you just outlast your opponents, and they do like these last for minutes at a time. So it's clearly not that damaging if you can survive for like 2 minutes in there. Now that's the flip side to it. I actually like that part of it, that you can really outplay people. I've even done, it's very rare for me, but occasionally I can do that where I know the other team aren't that good, but it's like a 1v3, right? It's just me versus 3 other people and they've got the advantage. But I know that like just by watching them run around, I kind of am confident in myself that I then do some crazy play where I go into the gas and flank them and they just think I'm in the other direction. Those things do add to a BR and I do enjoy that. So that's the only downside, is that we are losing the gas play potential that Warzone offers. But to me, I do think that something needs to come and like change the BR genre just a little bit. And I think this is a pretty big change. Like you cannot be near that fire. If you get caught in a gunfight and the storm is right behind you, like you're dying. You'd have to be the best player in the world to get out of that. So I'm excited by that. I think it really will change the dynamics, where kind of everything we know about BRs is going to change in the sense of like knowing how much you can be in the gas in Warzone. Like that's gone. I need to erase that from my memory because I'll probably do that in this. I bet I'll run into the fire.
The first week,
like,
so many people are going to die that way.
Yeah, I guarantee that happens to me, where I'm just going to go, clutch moment here. Let me do some crazy play, and I just run into the fire and die immediately. That's going to be... it's going to take me a while to get used to, but I think that's cool. I think it just... The thing about BR is that it's so intense. It's the stakes are so high. And I think as we've all gotten better at BRs over the last like 10 years, that has maybe dropped off a little bit, where it has become more and more like just normal multiplayer, where even now, like me and the boys jump into games and we're not trying to survive. We're going out like actively hunting groups of people, which you didn't used to do back in the day. Like it was all about getting looped up and like playing smart. Now we just run around like idiots. So I think that like this will kind of bring that back, where you can't really do that as much anymore. And I kind of like that. I think it's going to be, man, I think some of those final circles are just going to be chaos. Like,
yeah, it's going to be crazy. Yeah. Especially as people like learn the map too. Like the big thing with a lot of this stuff is early on, it's going to be kind of like a free-for-all survival thing, but as you learn where people are landing, what movements people are doing, where people typically end up going, where the best loot is, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. On top of, now you've got the fire ring coming at you that will kill you. That's also the added aspect of like learning how you can how close you can be, how quickly it's going to move, where it typically is the best place to move forward, all of those aspects, and then ultimately like driving people much more quickly into the smaller areas is going to change how people play these modes.
Yeah, 100%. It will, like they sort of mentioned that at the end there. They're keen to see how it affects the pace of the game, and it really will. Like there's no more dilly-dallying on the edge of the circle trying to get that last bit of loot. Like you can't be risking that anymore. At least not early. I'm sure like 2 years down the line, people will be really comfortable, and then it's the same thing that's happened with BR in general. It used to be really chaotic. Now people know what you can do, but early on, man, it's going to be just like, I think so many people will just land like in the center of the map because they're like, I don't want to even have to think about the fire. I just want to loot and get my kills and stuff and not have to be stressing about that. And that's then going to mean that like there's going to be some crazy hot drops where like everyone's dropping in the same spot. And yeah, I'm excited to see how it goes. I think, like we've said, they have to do something to make this stand out. And to me, this is probably it, in combination with, like I said, the destruction, the classes, I think is a great touch, and all of that. To me, already I haven't even played it, and it does feel like there is like a definition of what this is. This is a bit more of a like chaotic BR that you can. The building you're in, you think you're safe. No, it's not. It's blown up. Now you're out in the open. Like you go near the fire, you're gonna die. Like that. It just feels like it's gonna be carnage, and I think that's kind of what the BR genre has needed for, I don't know, 5 years now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think this is going to be such a fun change to the format of Battle Royales, and I'm really excited to see how like we all end up approaching it. That alongside like the what do you think of the squad aspect of this as well?
Yeah, I kind of really like it. I did a video last week about the BR and kind of like the pros and cons and how they can make it unique and stuff. And I did mention in there about like having classes involved, but I also didn't think they actually would do that. I wasn't sure how they would go about it, but that in itself is a pretty big change from, say, Warzone. Everyone goes into the game and you're all equal, but like it's more in the line now of almost like Apex, where that's like obviously a hero BR, but
that was
like,
the first thing that came to mind when I saw that.
It's like a mini hero BR where there's not as many heroes and they're not as defined, but like you do still have to pick your way of playing. And I just think that's cool. I personally, as long as it's done well, we have to obviously play it, but like, I think that's cool to be able to, you could be really good at the BR as an assault player, but then you can like challenge yourself and go, okay, all right, well, like I don't usually play medic, so let me play that way for a while and get better at that. I just think it adds more depth to the game, and also then, you know, having different combinations, like jumping in with your boys and you go, all right, we're all going to play assault, we're going to see if that works, or we're all going to play medic and keep each other alive, all going to play engineer and target these vehicles and stuff. Like there's a lot of, it just adds more to the game, I think. So I think it's a great touch that, again, like that deadly fire, that it's just something that other games don't have. I really do think this game will like compete with Warzone, maybe not in terms of numbers. It could, but I don't think it will. But in terms of, I think it'll be a similar game to Warzone, but they're bringing in, you know, it's Warzone with classes and an instant kill ring and destruction. And to me, that sounds sick. Like that's what Warzone's kind of needed, is a big shake up to it. And
yeah,
because they're both the realistic, I guess you'd throw PUBG in there too, but to me, PUBG is a bit of it. Like, even though it's huge, to me, it's still like an indie game. It's never played.
It's the OG.
Well.
It's not attached to like an EA or an Epic or anything like that.
It's always been a bit more clunky animations, and it's just not like smooth. Like Call of Duty and Battlefield, their gameplay is like so smooth, whereas PUBG's, it's not bad. It's just very different. And so to me, Warzone kind of perfected that like grounded, realistic BR, and I'm talking in comparisons like Fortnite, that's a cartoon essentially, and like Apex, which is not obviously realistic at all. Warzone was the first one to be like a grounded military BR. It's kind of gone away from that, obviously, with all the Beavis and Butthead stuff, but like I think that Warzone now can come, the Battlefield BR can come in now and say, all right, we're taking it, like that's ours now. We're the really smooth military BR now. You've had your fun, and now you want to play Ninja Turtles and Nicki Minaj. We're going to come in and like steal that, I guess, niche. And by bringing in this extra stuff, I just think I really do think they could be on to something here. I'm not confident to the point where I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be the next big BR. I don't know, but if they can land all of these things, I actually do think this could, like, that 100 mil number they talked about, like, we were all joking about it, and I was the first one to be like, that's dumb. But man, like, between the beta and how happy people were, and this is a free BR with all this cool stuff, and if it lands properly, man, they really could be onto something special here, which is, I never thought I would say that. I really didn't, but yeah, it's got a lot of potential, I think.
Yeah, I'm hesitantly excited about this. I'm really glad that they aren't just kind of like dropping this with launch, and they are including it with the Battlefield Labs experience. Specifically, they're talking about how we'll be watching how players use the classes to build the most effective squads and how their unique traits contribute throughout each game. Because if you really look at it, like the class play and the balance of that is going to be different in the main game than it is going to be in the Battle Royale. So I do wonder how that is going to change how these things are impacted, and also like the engineer's ability when using or fighting against vehicles. Like, I don't know if the format of Battle Royale really influences that specific experience. Like, it's going to focus on like the engineer's ability to like help vehicles, because like if I'm a squad and I'm in a vehicle, like having an engineer is going to be great for me. But like, yes, an engineer is going to be better equipped to take out a vehicle, but am I going to be willing to take that risk in a match to attempt to take out a vehicle, even though that there is, and I think this is a really interesting piece too, is the revive systems that they have in place. Obviously the support class is there, but I do wonder like that push and pull, how that's going to affect things.
Yeah, it's interesting with engineer because they've pretty much said that like RPGs are going to be lootable. So like, kind of what's the point playing engineer if I can just be medic and pick up an RPG off the ground? I'm happy about that, because I would hate, that's kind of what I mean. It'd be so bad if like you get into a game and maybe you've got an engineer in your team, but like they've died or whatever, and then there's a tank and you can't use an RPG. Then you're just dead. So at least we can pick them up, but then it buys into like, well, why would I actually play engineer? Unless they like way better at taking, they deal twice as much damage or something, then for sure. But it also adds to the dynamic of, what if you pick engineer to defend against a tank and then that game just doesn't have a tank? Do you know what I mean? Like there will be games where people just don't pick up the tank or whatever. So yeah, but to me that adds to it a bit. Like, it's just the good thing about BRs that makes them so special is there is that element of randomness. That's just like every game is different. You can kind of go in thinking you know what to expect, and most of the time you might be right, but there's always that game where just some other team just does something completely unexpected and you're like, what is happening right now? That's what I love about BRs. And so yeah, I kind of like that whole, me and the boys all pick engineer because the last game we got destroyed by a tank, and then this next game there's no tanks, and we should have played as medics instead or whatever. Like, yeah. But that's part of the fun. Is to people who don't like BR, all of this probably sounds terrible. Like, I always get a lot of people who say in my Discord who aren't BR guys, and they're like, "This sounds bad." When you're explaining a BR and you've gotten deleted by a team, and you had the wrong weapon or you had this or whatever, and it sounds terrible because you're kind of like, now I've got to go back. That was a waste of 20 minutes. I've got to go back to the menu and search for a new game. But to me, and I think to most people who play BRs, like, that is the fun of it. The frustration is the fun, because when you get that win, it makes it literally 10 times better. Like, the pain you endure trying to get the win and having multiple failed attempts, and it's getting really annoying. Weirdly, that is what is so good about BRs. If I just won every game, it wouldn't be fun. It's just like multiplayer. You just jump in, get your win, and get off. Like, that's not fun. So, yeah, I think all of this stuff adds up to be. It just sounds really promising, or at least the potential of it sounds really promising. So I'm very, very keen to see when they start inevitably leaking actual gameplay, because obviously we got those leaks last week, but like, from what I could tell, that was just people going into the map and just walking around. I didn't actually see, now that I think of it, I didn't see one gunfight in all of that leaked gameplay. I don't know if I just missed it. I just saw people walking around the map. There wasn't a circle coming in on them. There wasn't anything. No loot. People just walking around the map. So now that I actually have thought about that, I assume that was just a straight up like map test or something, where it's just like drop into the map and just like run around and see if you find anything broken. Not actual gameplay. So I'm very keen to see like an actual match of this and see how it plays, because I think it's got a lot of potential if they do it properly.
Yeah. I do think it's funny that we also do not see any game like people interacting with each other in that. I'm convinced that gameplay was from some kind of like internal person, right? Like this is just now getting announced here. Obviously, it had to have been someone that was in an earlier playtest because obviously it looked quite clunky. But yeah, I'm interested to see how like kind of the whole package comes together for this game. And again, we still don't know if this is going to be a paid game. I think they would be foolish to
instantly dead if it does that.
Exactly. Yeah, if they come out with this after seeing the success of Warzone being a free to play aspect of the game, I think it is an incredibly missed opportunity, and they are just fooling themselves if they think they can keep that alive in this modern age.
Especially after fight, like they've got their own data to be like, okay, Firestorm.
They have an example with their own previous game.
Yeah. It'd be different. Say like Blackout had the same sort of issue, and it'd be different if it was like a different company who'd done it, and they were like, "Oh, we think we can do it. Pays." That's one thing. Even that's still dumb in my opinion. But it's like they just might think they can do it better or whatever. But having your own version of this, essentially the first version, because I'm assuming this. I don't know if it'll be called Firestorm 2 or whatever, but like it is Firestorm. It's got the fire ring again, so it is essentially Firestorm 2. Doing it that same way, which is the reason why the first one failed. That might be, if they did that, that might be, like, not even exaggerating here, that might be the single dumbest decision that I've ever seen in video games. I'm not even joking. That I would be, like, truly baffled. I think I'd just sit there looking at the announcement for, like, an hour. Just be like, what have I just read? That this is a paid game. So, surely not. But, yeah, I mean, yeah. You never know. Even though they've done a lot to earn our trust back, I'm still, yeah. I've got PTSD, man. There's still stuff that I'm like, oh, I don't know if they're going to actually do what I think that they should do.
Yeah. Yeah, we will see if they make the dice mistake or if they play competitively. That is for sure. Yeah, but let us know your thoughts in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube, or contact uplinkpodcast.com if you're listening to this wherever you find podcasts. As always, check out Sammy Boy's YouTube channels. He's got some great content coming out there and some fun stuff on the horizon. If you're into Star Wars, check out Star Wars Uplink. And as always, we'll see you later, video gamers.